So today's topic is a continuation of the three modes of material nature, chapter 14 of the Bhagavad-gita As It Is by A.C. Bhakti-Vedana Swami Prabhupada. Text is 11. So here it goes. Sarvadvire sudehesmin Prakasha upajayate Jnanam yad tada vidvad Vivridam satranityuta Bhakti, can I get some more? 11. So for those of you who are just coming in, Bhagavad-gita chapter 14, text 11. Sarvadvire sudehesmin Sarvadvare sudehesmin Prakasha upajayate Jnanam yat tada vidyat Vivridam satvam ityuta Sarvadvare sudehesmin Prakasha upajayate Jnanam yada tada vidvat Vivridam satvam ityuta Put on chant.
Sarvadvareshu dehesmin Prakasha upajayate Jnanam yada tada vidyat Vivridam sattvam ityuta
Any ladies?
Sarvadvaresu dehesmin Prakasha upajayate Jnanam yada tada vidyat Vivrindam sattva ityuta
So word for word translation. Sarvadvaresu in all the gates. Dehe asmi in this body. Prakasaha the quality of illumination. Upajayate develops. Jnanam knowledge. Yada when. Tada at that time. Vidyat no. Vivridam increased. Sattvam the mode of goodness. Itiuta thus it is said. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace is come from the Chaya. Srila Abhachan Bindu Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Please kindly responsibly repeat. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Report. There are 9 gates in the body: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, the genitals, and the anus. When every gate is illuminated by the symptoms of goodness, it should be understood that one has developed the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position and one can taste things in the right position. One becomes cleansed inside and outside. In every gate, there is development of the symptoms of happiness, and that is the position of goodness. Om Gyana Timaranasya, Gyana Jana Salakaya, Saksoro Militam, Yena Tasmai, Si Gurave Namaha. Sucheta Manovistam, Safetam Yena Bhuta, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Dadati Swa Adantika, Pancha Kalpatari Vilcha, Kripa Sambhya Evacha, Patitana Pavya, Vaishnavya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale, Shemate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharani, Namaste Shivani. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasudeva. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So again, welcome to 22nd Avenue, Matchless Gifts. Like we have heard, this is the very first temple of ISKCON, established by Srila Prabhupada, the founder or child of ISKCON. So this is where it all began. This is where it all started. And so we are lucky to be to come to this place of pilgrimage. It is mentioned in the Bhagavatam that wherever a pure devotee steps his foot, that place becomes a pilgrimage. Not to speak of where he's been lecturing. Huh? So, people have to spend lots and lots of money traveling to the Himalayas. Why? Because that is a place where there are so many sages discussing. People go to Nabin that's the place where sages discuss transcendental subject matters. So here also, since 1966, 1965, 1966, since then, this place has been a place of transcendental discussions. And you know what? Wherever two or three people are gathered discussing about Krishna, Krishna is there. Because he is absolute. I was at Central New Jersey on Sunday. I planned to ISKCON temple there for the Sunday Feast lecture. So one of the things I was mentioning was that I said, the Christians in Christendom will find, people carry their Bibles. They have the Bibles in their cars. They have the Bibles on the table, on the office. So we should also be putting our Bhagavad-gitas in our car. Why? Because it's Krishna. If we accept in principle that the Bhagavad-gita is the spoken word of Krishna, and since Krishna's word and his personality are not different, that is the manifestation of Krishna. That is the literary manifestation of Krishna. That's the sound representative of Krishna. The Bhagavad-gita was spoken directly by Lord Krishna. And so Krishna's thesis of the Bhagavad-gita could create a revolution in our lives if we would try to read it every day. Because knowledge is power, and power is revolutionary. If you have power, you could be drunk. If the power is too much, it could cause trouble. But this spiritual power, it doesn't really cause trouble, no matter how much you get yourself, intoxicated with that power. And Prabhupada mentioned, I was listening to one of his lectures, he mentioned that if someone is following this standard, spiritually and materially, you become powerful. If you're not following this standard, it's a different thing. If you're doing the wishy-washy things and using Krishna as a facade, that's a different thing. But if you're following this, standard, what Prabhupada has given to us, you become powerful. There is power that comes with it. Even Krishna will nourish your aspirations. Isn't it?
Sure.
Krishna will nourish your aspirations. So here in this text, it is a more of a metaphysical text. It's giving us information about what the different gates of this body are. And these gates are described by Lord Krishna when in his instruction to Uddhava as the executive. So here you go. There are knowledge acquiring senses or knowledge acquiring sensory modalities. Lord Krishna mentioned that these 9 gates are the executive sensory modalities. You know, there are senses, there are knowledge acquiring senses, and there are the working senses. Working senses and executive senses, they're the same because you have a plan, you have to execute it. The senses may develop some idea, it's like a plan. The working senses, you have to execute it. But you know what? These senses are these knowledge acquiring senses and the working senses, which is these 9 gates, and they could put us into trouble. They could also help to give us liberation, but they could also help to put us into big trouble. How is that? How is that? Okay, let's take the positive side. I like being positive, so don't be frightened, okay? Let's take the positive. So here we have the 2 eyes. With the eyes, we can watch the deity of the Lord and become purified. It's called darshana. And by having the darshan of the Lord, I mean, you find in big temples, even in the Western countries, you find in all these big temples where they have Mangalati every day, you find people, they put on their tie, their suit and everything, they drive to the temple, pay the obeisances, have darshan of the Lord, then they're going. Or they stay there for the Mangalati, and then they do some japa, and then zoom, they're gone. They have gone to the temple to have darshan, utilizing the eyes to be able to create an internal revolution, an internal positive revolution, to create a difference, to purify the body through the eyes. Because when you have a vision of the Lord, you become purified. Not only the eyes, the whole body becomes purified. I'll give you an example. Dhruva, he was looking for high-profile material benediction. He went to the forest to perform some austerities. The Bhagavatam explains that Dhruva's austerities created upheaval amongst the devas, amongst the demigods. But then, ultimately, he was able to invoke the presence of the Lord. Krishna came in the form of Vishnu. So, his meditation broke and, he could see the Lord face to face. Vishnu form. So, Vishnu asked him, yes, you're looking for me. I'm here. What do you want? He knows already he wants some kingdom greater than that of his grandfather. But he just asked him that, yes, I'm here. What blessings do you want? Now he had all this intense desire to have a big kingdom greater than that of his grandfather. But when his eyes had a vision of the Lord, his whole body became purified. He said, I was looking for broken glasses. I was looking for material boon, but it was a temporary thing. It was something very transitory. And I was stupid. I should be looking for, pure love. Pure love for you. there is love. And the opposite of that is what is operational in the material world. It's lost. Although we got to love, and you meet people, you watch the social media or anything, you find people say, "Oh, I love you." But it's a misnomer. If I'm attracted to you for some exchange, some sensual exchange, it doesn't mean I love you. I am lusty after you. I am attracted to you. But the language normally used is that, it's love. And, people don't want to hear this. So, Dhruva thought, oh my God, I was looking for something else. I was lusty after power, after, kingdom. But after seeing you, all of that is gone. I'm purified. That's a typical example. He said, I was looking for useless stuff. But, the good thing is that if we do have a material desire, Krishna still says, come to me. Whatever material desires you have, you can come to the Lord. He created the material facilities. He created the material opulence. He created the assets, all of the resources. He created them. So if we want something, the best recourse is to actually seek that from the Lord. You go tell somebody who is just coming to the Krishna temple that, you asking something from God, that is really Maya. Yes, sometimes we go haywire. And so a teacher teaches the kids or teaches the students. The teacher starts from the beginning, or from the known to the unknown. They don't start from the unknown. In other words, you have to be able to figure out the background of your student. What is the knowledge that you need to give to these people? If you start with too much of high stuff, you get everyone confused. And it means, the implication is that they're not going to gain so much from you. So it is important for us to know that yes, in this material world, we have all of these 9 gates. The 9 gates could be used in a positive way. There's nothing wrong with the 9 gates. Prabhupada said utility is a principle. We have eyes. There's nothing wrong with having eyes. If you go and pluck your eyes off like Biba Mangal Thakur and say, oh, my eyes have put me to trouble, I think that you will not be doing justice to yourself, because the sensory modalities are just there to give us trouble. But then the point is that we have to be responsible. Responsibility is a combination of 2 words: response and ability. We have the ability to respond to any situation. So we can say, well, no, I will not succumb to your dictates, my dear gate. If a particular gate tells you the wrong thing, dictates to you the wrong thing, you have that ability to tell that gate that, hey, boy, you have to keep a calm head. Now, this is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and a non-Krishna conscious person. A Krishna conscious person does not follow the dictates of these 9 gates. A Krishna conscious person does not follow even the dictates of the Jnana Shaktaya, the knowledge acquiring senses. The knowledge acquiring senses. These 9 gates are the executive senses, But even the knowledge acquiring senses, the Krishna conscious person does not follow the dictates of these gates or these knowledge acquiring senses. So here we have two distinct senses. And Krishna mentioned to Uddhava in the Uddhava Gita that the mind is in both categories. The mind is a knowledge acquiring sense. It's also executive sense. So he plays, a double role there. The mind, higher than the mind, is intelligence. But most of the times you find that the mind overpowers intelligence. We have the discrimination. I said later we realize, oh my God, how did I know this? Walk into the mind. It's so powerful. And so we have the eyes, but the eyes could be very useful in transcendental revolution to create a positive change in our lives. We have the ears. Now these ears, we can use these ears to hear Krishna Katha, transcendental message of the Lord. And we become purified. That's why I said I don't want to go to the negative side of it. Okay, we should talk about the positive side. Sometimes we get too pessimistic and we just, say, well, there is nothing here. Prabhupada said this place is, is hellish. The Krishna said, Drukalaya Masasvata means the miserable place. There is no happiness here, man. And we could just emphasize so much on that and discourage everybody. But at least if we say also the good sides of the material world, material body, material environment, yeah, people they could become enthused. So, positively speaking, yeah, the ears could be used in a very positive way to uplift our consciousness. And we're here, we're discussing, and we're hearing. One of the amazing things about being a speaker is that the speaker learns more than even the listeners. The speaker is talking, but an ardent speaker just has a conception that I am talking to myself. He doesn't think, well, I'm talking to you guys. No. Because empirically speaking, the speaker actually gains more than even the people who are listening. Because it's coming from him or from her. And if it's a transcendental knowledge like this, by speaking he becomes purified. And then by hearing also he's speaking and then at the same time hearing is like the chanting. So you get double benefit. This is why people should be encouraged, to lead kirtans, to speak the Bhagavad-gita. That's what I was listening. It's meant for our purification. And then we have the two nostrils. Traditionally we go to Krishna temple, and during the puja, during the offerings, flower is also offered. The flower is passed around and for people to smell. And by doing that, one becomes purified. It is mentioned that the Kumaras, they were impersonalists, but they get purified just by hearing, by use of their nostrils. They have some, scent of some offerings to the Lord, and that stimulated them, so they become purified. So the nostrils, the nose is not a bad thing. If we use the nose to sniff something bad, we use the nostrils to sniff, you know what I mean, It could be disastrous. Huh? It could be disastrous. So, there are good things that we can do with all of these 9 gates. And we should not think that, having this material body is just, it's a bad bargain, but this is what Prabhupada mentioned about maximum utility of this bad bargain. We use it in Krishna consciousness and we become purified. And our lives could be very glorious. So the mouth, most of the troubles on the planet, they emanate from, they are emanations from the mouth. Someone says something, I call it, those things that create trouble, I call it hogwash, insincere nonsense. You say something, and then that hurts somebody else, and then they will also respond. And once we say something that hurts somebody, that is called violence, according to the American Psychological Science Association. Anytime we say something that hurts someone, we have caused violence. And in our own tradition, by dint of our principles, we have broken one of the principles. Violence. That's why we don't eat animals. Oh, yeah. So, the mouth is very useful. We can use this mouth to sing praises with the help of the tongue, to sing praises of the Lord. We can use this mouth with the help of the tongue to say good things about people. We can use the mouth to eat Krishna prasadam and become purified. Eat sanctified food. If we don't use the mouth to just say any and anything. You see, the mouth is so powerful. The tongue has no bone, but it's a very powerful weapon. It could create wars. It's just 2 presidents of different countries wagging at each other, and they will engage their countries into war. You said this? I'm going to teach you a lesson. Who are you? Get out there. All right, I'll meet you. The tongue. The tongue. It is mentioned in the Shastra that, each time we want to eat, we recite this prayer, Sarira Avidya Jadundrya Toika. That of all the senses, the tongue is the most difficult to control. And I was preaching in Africa, and I took my car to a mechanic workshop, and I was watching these guys. What they were doing? They've just eaten breakfast. Just about 30 minutes ago, they ate breakfast. And I was watching. They were walking on my car, and I was watching what they were doing. So there were some hawkers who were passing by, and they're beautiful girls. And then I was watching them. They're just eating, and they will call this person, "Hey, please come. Or peanut, or give me some." Just because some beautiful girl is hawking something, the tongue is saying, "Hey, I need it." The eye sees the girl, and then the mind dictates, "Hey, what are you doing about that?" And the tongue says, "Hey, you selling peanut? I need a peanut." Yeah, so that is the other side of these sensory modalities. And therefore, we need to be aware that the mouth is useful. If we don't use the mouth to speak hogwash, to speak insincere nonsense, and to eat any and everything, we need to control this mouth, what we say. If we use the mouth in a positive way, we can build nations. The mouth can be used for nation building. The mouth and the tongue could be used also for destruction, for even destroying your families. It's one thing to just tell your spouse, Oh, darling, I love you so much. And then the next moment, you hear someone says, "Hey, you're nonsense." You call me nonsense? Yeah. Yeah, I remember, what, I won't mention the place, but I was I was watching a scenario how one teenager, a boy, so I think the mom said something to him, and then the next day he came and said, "So mom, so that is why you yelled at me?" So the mom, she was scared. She said, no, I didn't yell at you. She changed her whole tone, and she tried to embellish the whole statement, and placate the boy and calm him. Because when someone feels hurt, if even it's a child, it could be another story. Therefore, it is important for us to see how we are controlling the mouth, controlling the tongue. These are called vega, urges. We have the urge of the mouth, urge of the tongue, jiva vega. And beyond that, of course, I mentioned how the mouth is very useful to us. We can use it to chant Krishna's name. We can use it to take prasadam, become purified. Most of the things that we do in Krishna consciousness have to do with the mouth. We can use the mouth to preach Krishna consciousness, and create a positive change in our communities, beginning with ourselves. And the genitals. There's nothing wrong in having genitals. Who said there's something wrong? How you use it. Utility is the principle. There's nothing wrong in going to buy a knife in the shop. What do you use that knife for? You use the knife to cut your vegetables in the kitchen. Perfect. You use the knife to threaten someone, you're going to jail. Isn't it? Yeah. So again, utility. So the genitals are also there. They are designed for procreation. And therefore, if people understand that, we have a purpose on the planet has to be populated, If everybody leaves this planet, well, what will happen? The place will be vacant, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. So the planet has to be populated. But there's a procedure for that. The procedure is that if people get married and they have legitimate children, they check out the things properly. They get married. They have, they stay together to take care of their kids. There will be peace. The children will enjoy, the parents will enjoy that association. If it is used in another way around, it could be so disastrous. We'll produce Vana Sankara, unwanted population. I've seen cases where a boy and a girl, they're thinking, oh, let me just finish school very quickly and enjoy my life unlimitedly. Okay, they finish school, and then you get, boyfriend here, girlfriend here, and then before the boy has like maybe 3 girlfriends. So one came to report, "Hey darling, I didn't see my menses last month." He said, "Really? What are you talking about?" I'm serious. I don't want to hear this. He becomes angry. I've also seen the case where the girl has to go and speak with her older brother, and the older brother has to come and beg the boy. After trying several avenues, and abortion couldn't take place. It didn't. Sometimes some of the kids that are coming, some of the souls that are coming, they are very stubborn. If even you go to see the doctor, they will say, it's not possible. We've tried our best, it's not working. I've seen a case where the girl goes to meet her older brother. This has happened. A boyfriend has impregnated me, and now he doesn't want the child. What to do? And I've tried abortion, it never worked. I'm talking about the use of the genitals. And the older brother has to come and beg the boyfriend. And they come from aristocratic family, whereby it will be very unheard of to say the sister has become pregnant outside of marriage. So you have to beg the boy. He has to beg the boy, just come, present yourself to my father, and then tell my father and my family that you're going to marry this girl. Let the whole family, at least the news will go around that the girl is engaged to somebody. And wherever you want to go, no problem. And that is after begging the boy. The older brother has to come and beg. Can you imagine when a boy is pestering a girl they like for a relationship, and this is what she was paid for. This is the salary that she got. So there's nothing wrong in being endowed with all of these working senses, including the genitals. But as soon as we become, followers instead of being the leader, if we become the followers of the sensory modalities, if we follow the dictates of the sensory modalities, we could ruin our. And so that was the end of our career. And therefore, these days there are so many crimes of people not really controlling their genitals. In most cases, the women are the victims. Rape, all type of cases, molestation, so many things are happening. This is the reason why we need to spread this Krishna consciousness, because this science of Krishna consciousness is the only avenue, it gives us the practical strategies to be able to have control over our senses. You can make so many laws, you can make so many rules. Yes, even sending people to jail, serves as a deterrent to some people. And I tell you, when they come out from jail, it doesn't stop them from going to commit the same type of crime. But if the purity, if the heart, if the mind, the senses become purified, then naturally they will not act in a criminal way or in an antisocial way to implicate themselves. And when things of this nature happen, not only is the individual involved, the whole family, they become like, subjected to real, to shame. Therefore, it is important for us to understand the essence of this very knowledge. It not only nourishes the soul and prepares us for emancipation from this repeated death and death, but even in this very lifetime, we could be very happy to pursue our different professions without fear. And so these 9 gates, as mentioned here, in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna gives so much of delineation about these 9 gates, the working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses. Especially in chapter 16 of the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is important for us to realize, or to at least begin to appreciate, what it takes to be in a mode of goodness. In a mode of goodness, actually the Brahmins or the intelligentsia, those are the people supposedly in the mode of goodness. But the mode of goodness is not just about acquisition of knowledge. It's supposed to give us sustainable happiness. Sustainable happiness here does not imply sustained happiness or a lasting happiness. Sustainable happiness here implies that happiness that you acquire without inflicting pain on anyone, not even in the next generation. So traditionally, people go into some type of happiness, but some flickering happiness. Yes, there is happiness on this planet, but flickering happiness is so temporary. And sometimes we have to cause so much pain to someone else, or we have to cause so much of pain to ourselves just to get that flickering happiness. And we say pain to ourselves. It might not just be the immediate time we are trying to acquire or achieve that happiness. I mean, it's like someone is smoking. Someone came to work at the home where I'm staying, and so he's smoking, an artisan. So he's smoking. So we greet a lot, and I just asked him that, just and such. So, what do you gain from this smoking? So he busted out laughing. He said, I really want to give it up. But it's not so easy when you form a habit. And therefore it is important for the devotees to understand that we have a gift from Prabhupada. We have a gift from Krishna. The Bhagavad-gita was spoken by Lord Krishna himself. So this is an embodiment of transcendental knowledge. Any chapter you open in this Bhagavad-gita, any text you read, gives you some upliftment. And so here, in this very chapter, which is on the modes of material nature, goodness, the mode of goodness is a desired mode. Prabhupada describes it that those who are advancing in knowledge, like the poets, the philosophers, high-profile people. And again, you find with these people, if you get very close to them, because there is a deficiency of spiritual information culture, you see that their so-called advancement in education or in material knowledge also is a cause of pain sometimes. Because they really get confused at some point in time. So it is important for us to appreciate what Prabhupada has given to us. We might not be, those high-profile guys, but at least we can chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And that happiness could be sustainable. Sustainable in the sense that you don't inflict any pain on any living entity in bid to achieving your happiness. Any comments or questions on this point? Yes.
What's the in your experience? What's the easiest process for someone just starting out trying to control these senses and not follow their dictations? What's the first thing they can do in order to help themselves in that direction?
That's a good thing. The easiest thing to do, I can tell from my own experience. The easiest thing for me, I tell you one thing. When I encountered the Hare Krishnas in the beginning, I thought, what? Yeah. So, what I did, let me just give you personal experience. What I did was that I was determined that if other people have done this, I would also do it. So what I did was that, that time as a young, in my middle 20s, as a young guy, I was working. And so what I did was that I thought of really cutting off my friends, but they were mostly like, lawyers, prosecutors in the court, and police officers. And so we used to go out every evening after work, especially during the weekend. So then, I know one of them is the high top police officer, and so we were very close. And I just decided, no, I'm not going to go out with them. I'm not going to go out with them. But then I decided that I had to chant the 16 rounds in the morning before going to work. So I was chanting like that. I was chanting like that. I woke up early in the morning. I was by myself, and so I'll prepare my food and then chant 16 rounds before going to work. And when I come back, I lock up myself in the house. Just by myself in my own house, so I just lock up myself and then chant again another 16 rounds. Then I go to sleep. And I was doing I was doing that, but the bad side to that, in quote, the bad side to that is that I thought, oh, all this stuff, all this job I'm doing, come on. Better to go and explore properly what the Vedas have. Better to become a full-time priest. So in 3 months, I dropped the job and moved to the temple. So don't try to chant too much. If you I remember I met one guy in New Jersey, Plainfield. So he came to pay obeisances after the class. So I was asking him that, I was discussing with him, and he's 42 or so. So I said, so you come here with a family? He said, no, I come by myself. I said, you're not married? He said, no, I'm not married. I said, what are you doing with your life? You need a companion. So he told me they were born in a devotional family. His his father is in Florida. His mom is here. He said he lives with his mom. That his parents are separated. That he has another brother who is married, come to the temple, himself and the wife. They are doing also pujari work on the altar. They come to help with pujari work. But for him, he's not married. I said, so what do you do? So he said, oh, but Maharaj, this is what the Bhagavatam says. This is what the Bhagavatam says. This is what the Bhagavatam says. I say, oh, I see. Bhagavatam spoiled you. I said, oh, the Bhagavatam spoiled you. Why did you read it? So he busted out laughing. Yeah, so there's a transformation, a heavy transformation that comes with the presence of Krishna consciousness. So back to your question, chanting. You have rapid positive change. Just rapid positive change. Your bad habits, your desires, and all these things bugging you. So if you go and tell somebody, hey, this is your lifestyle, you're sinful. What is the strategy? What is the paramdiswa, never tented that you're giving to the person? What is the higher principle you're giving to the person? That is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. We don't say, give up give up meat eating. What will I eat? I remember again when I was in Africa. And so there was a family, the husband was a pilot. And then the lady, they have a big store that they operate, the wife. So I was passing one time, and then we went there they also have a secretarial office. So we used to go there to send fax messages. And during one Janmashtami, I sent one devotee, that time I was president of the temple. So I sent one devotee to send that lady some prasada. And Janmashtami is all different type of preparations and all these stuff. And so when I said that was during the weekend. So I think on Monday, I was driving past that place and I heard someone shouting on my name. Vasudev, Vasudev. So I stopped. I looked behind and I saw this lady, she bumped out from her house and was, running towards me in the car. And I thought,
maybe I committed something, or some devotee has done something. And you know what she told me when she came back? She said, so this is how you guys are enjoying. Yeah, from the prasada we sent to her. So the point is, there is that principle of paramdristra, higher taste, to be able to give up the lower taste. If you tell somebody, hey, boyfriend and girlfriend, it's sinful. What are you talking about? You're just looking for trouble because you are not giving any alternative approach. First of all, the fellow should become purified. Prabhupada even did not give rules and regulations in this place. He never gave any rules and regulations to anybody. He just engaged them in chanting and taking prasadam. The day they want to, the first initiation, the first initiation, that very day was when somebody, I don't know whether it's Brahmananda or somebody asked, what will be our commitment? Before Prabhupada brought up the 4 principles. And how many rounds you have to chant. So, women say, well, we're not Prabhupada, we're not expert. But we have to learn from the experts to know how to deal with the conditions. So it's very painful when you challenge someone's sinful life without providing an alternative stuff. It's like you're telling the person, I'm better than you, you rascal. Now, the people in the mode of goodness, they act like that. We should not simply be on the mode of goodness. We should aspire to be on the mode of transcendental goodness. Because the mode of goodness, according to the explanations given by Krishna and even Prabhupada's purport, mode of goodness conditions the living entity to this world. You just go on to take another body, another birth. It's just that it is better than the other modes of passion and ignorance, but it is not a liberating mode. It conditions us to happiness. And that happiness is even, there's a clause. What is that? It is flickering happiness. So bottom line, to speed up our process, chanting. And you just try it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The bad thing about the chanting is that when you chant, if it gets a particular stage, you could be delayed in some projects. I'm being frank, because to keep down the beat bag could become a problem. Yeah, but that's a good problem. I've experienced it a number of times that, to put down the beat bag becomes a problem, and I have other things to do, but to put it down it just becomes a problem. And that's a good problem. Yes, and what's the question?
It was partially answered, but I can ask. I wanted to ask something from what you just said. You said something about not preaching, but talking to people without giving an alternative. But what if we do give an alternative and it is not accepted? For example, when we talk to our family and to our close friends after joining Krishna consciousness, you do provide an alternative, but it is not really accepted. What's our...
Yeah, I give you this strategy. I know. See, I've been around in the movement for like 3 decades. I know what devotees normally do. We have a problem with that. So, I'll give you an example of myself. So when I was a joint, I had my friends, boys from my community,
a number of them were like professors in university. I didn't preach to them. I didn't just preach to them. My friend, I didn't preach to them. So they'll come over, I give them prasadam. I keep the books just, on my table. I give the book just on my table. And those who are curious, they pick up some books and then they start reading. So by the time I wanted to move into the temple, all my books, one professor, young professor in University of Science and Technology in Port Harcourt, he just collected all of my books. I was surprised. Yeah. Another boy will be in Harinam. And then he came to me, and then he said, "You are in this type of place, and you didn't tell me?" Yeah, that was the reaction. I remember one of my cousins, one lady. I didn't preach to anybody. I didn't preach to anybody. One lady, when I met her after several years, you know what she was asking me? She said, "We are first cousins. We used to meet in our grandmother's place when we were kids." So you know what she asked me? She said, "I want to go to India, and when I'm ready, I shall contact you." I said, "What? Go to India to do what?" She just laughed at me. He said, "See, you don't have been reading your books? I'm getting ready to visit India." Yeah. So there are other cases where I have some friends, even right here in the US. One lady, she's very close to me, and she's a retired banker, a retired bank manager. So she called me. We used to talk on the phone a lot. So she called me one day on the phone and said, "Maharaj, you know what she said?" She said, "I think I just have to dump these people." I said, "What do you mean?" "And who?" He said, "My parents." "My parents?" I said, "See you. Just because you have been a devotee, and so now you try to condemn everybody else?" I said, "Your parents, do they take prasadam?" He said, "Yes, they like prasadam." I said, "Why are you forcing them overnight to become devotees? You go and visit them every weekend, go and give them prasadam." So you take gentle. I didn't meet my father for 16 years. When I moved into the temple, 6 years. If you have a child, the child, in some places, they might even have a baby. I didn't meet any one of them. Not to talk of preaching. I didn't meet physically, no. I think after 11 years or so, I did communicate because I met one of my friends, and then he said he was going to see my dad, that I can give him a note. Just if I tell him that he met me, he might not believe that. I should just give him a note. So I gave. But then from there he communicated with me. And what he said was that, "I gave birth to you. I know you more than you know yourself. Whatever you have chosen to do, I don't have any interference. I know you. You can't choose the wrong thing. I'm only praying that whatever you're doing, you should be successful." Now, after 16 years, we met. I went to meeting with some devotees, and he collected all the books that we brought. He's an educator. He collected all the books that we brought without any query. Nothing. On that spot, he knew that we don't drink alcohols, so they brought a number of cartons and crates of soft drinks, malts and other things. One of them was Coca-Cola. So I said he should return the Coca-Cola. We don't drink Coca-Cola, and we will not distribute Coca-Cola to the guests who came. He asked me why. I explained that Coca-Cola has some elements of psychedelic substance. Right from that day, he also ceased drinking Coca-Cola. So the bottom line is that we should be respectful. If people don't follow what we are doing, that is the time we should show more love for them, so that the love does not become conditional. "Oh, because I don't follow them follow her for her religion, she's behaving like this to me." No. People want to see the transformation we have undergone. And naturally, they would like to align with us. So don't take it easy. Don't be in a hurry. Feel free to get around, go around with people, but don't get into the habit of, trying to preach to people, everybody you meet, trying to convert them. No. Because when you try to do that, especially with your parents, they will think, she's my girl. What does she know? I train her. I know, come on. I know more than her. In fact, that was the conception I had, that I never preached to any family member. But you know what? When I met my family, the time I went to see my dad, his younger brother and other of his cousins, they were begging me to at least we went there with cartons of books. The guests who came, the books were not even enough. My family, they were begging me. My father's cousins and his younger brother, they were all begging me to at least visit them once in a year. I said, hey, boy, I'm a busy guy. But then I have two devotees who used to visit them, so they keep them on. But then the bottom line is that, family, they say a doctor has no relevance in his family. The family members, they don't value a doctor. They don't value, it's your child. It's a lawyer. Your parents, what will you tell them about law? It's like, sure, you are my baby. Yeah, that's what they think,
They have their own lawyer.
So, and this is a general appeal. We're trying to spread a very strange philosophy, a strange lifestyle. It's a counterculture lifestyle. It may take time for people to accept. There are a number of people who are very high pious merit. Immediately they hear the philosophy, they will grab it. Majority of people are not like that. So we should be considerate. We should not go into hiding, but we should be considerate. We should expose ourselves, and the essential factor is to be friendly, to be loving to people. I did a lot of that with some of my friends, professors. Like one of my major editor-in-chief of some of the journals that I write for, they are not devotees. And they are top, high-profile scholars. So I remember one of them, I will go there, and then I'll get some devotees to prepare some, some carry-away prasadam, and then I go to give to him. I give also to his secretaries. There were two ladies there. But then a time came that if I visit that office without any cookie, any prasadam, I'm in trouble. Yeah, so being friendly. And then at some point in time, the secretaries, they were scared that the professor was going to perhaps abandon everything to become like me, full time. So I reassured them that no, I will not even allow it. He has a lot of obligation. So yeah, we should be friendly with people, but don't impose your philosophy on people. It's not going to work. There are people who are very pious, they will naturally embrace it. All right, in the absence of, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I live with a family of meat eaters, and I'm trying to prepare food for Prabhupada and Krishna. So I don't know where to prepare the food because I don't want it near the meat.
Okay.
Or where to prepare meat.
Yeah.
So I try not to impose on them, and I've told them about Hare Krishna for years now, but they don't stop eating meat.
Yeah. It's difficult. Even the meat eating is one of those most difficult things because people believe or people think that there is enjoyment, but a lot of health challenges come with meat eating. So what you could do is, again, don't be hostile, be friendly, be loving,
And you try to see that you use separate pots for cooking. And Prabhupada lived with, when he came to, which place was that? Was it Boston?
Butler, Pennsylvania. Butler,
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
Butler, okay. When Prabhupada first came to this country, he was living with the family. And in the fridge, where he put his burger and food, meat was there. Meat was loaded in the fridge. Meat. Prabhupada. So we are, whatever we are seeing, we should compare, what past acharyas have seen. So be patient. Huh? By your presence alone, I've seen cases where devotees tolerate their family members, and eventually their whole family became devotees. They even gave them trouble. Really give them trouble. I remember, one of my guests.